This is the story of creation by Godly Play and Church Publishing. What is the greatest present you've ever been given? Maybe it was a bicycle or a fun game or an electronic. Maybe you even got something like a pet or a new puppy. Did you know that there are some gifts that are so big and so great that people can just walk right through them and not even realize that they are there? To make sure that we don't miss these big gifts, sometimes we have to go back to the beginning, or maybe even before the beginning. In the beginning, well, there wasn't very much. Maybe all that was there was a huge smile, but there was no one there to see it. And so on the first day, God gave us the gift of light and darkness. And God separated the light from the darkness. This was not just the light that you see in a light bulb or the light that you see in the stars. This was the light that all the other lights come from. When God looked at the gift of light, he said, "It is good." And that was the end of the first day. On the second day, God gave us the gift of water. Now, this wasn't just the water that you drink or the water that you use to take a bath or a shower. This was the water that all waters come from: the oceans and the rivers, the lakes and the streams. And this is called a firmament. It separates the water in the sky above from the water on earth below. When God saw the gift of water, he said, "It is good." And that was the end of the second day. On the third day, God gave us the gift of dry land. He separated the waters and the dry land, and green growing things began to sprout. When God saw the dry land and all of the green and growing things, he said, "It is good." And that was the end of the third day. On the fourth day, God gave us the gift of day and night. He gave us the sun to rule the day, and the moon and the stars to rule the night. This day also gave us the gift of keeping time, so we knew when it would be time to be awake and time to go to sleep. And when God saw the gift of day and night, he said, "It is good." And that was the end of the fourth day. On the fifth day, God gave us the gift of all of the creatures that fly, not just birds, but anything that flies, and all of the creatures that swim in the waters below, not just fish, but everything that swims. And when God looked at the creatures that fly in the sky above and the creatures that swim in the water below, God said, "It is good." That was the end of the fifth day. On the sixth day, God created the creatures that live on the earth. There are creatures with 2 legs, like you and me, and there are creatures with many legs, all of the animals that live on the dry land. This was the day that God put God's image within each of us. And when God saw the creatures with 2 legs and the creatures with many legs. When God looked back on all of the other days, God said, "It is very good." And that was the end of the 6th day. On the 7th day, God gave us the gift of rest. Now, there's nothing on this card because there are many things that we can do to rest and to help us remember all the gifts that God has given us. Sometimes people have a special place where they go to rest and remember all of God's gifts. For some people, maybe they have a tree house, or maybe they like to go out in nature to a place like the state park. Some people might want to do it just in their own bed at home. I don't know where your special place might be. Only you know that. But I know that in the Christian church, we mark this day with a cross. And Jews mark it with 2 special candles. This day reminds us to thank God for all of God's gifts and to remember all the wonderful things that God has done for us and to rest. I wonder, which of these days is your favorite? I wonder, which day is the most important? I wonder if there are any days that we could leave out and still have everything that we need. I wonder which day is especially for you, or which day you feel like you are in right now. And for your work today, you can make your very own story of creation with your craft bag. You should have a piece of black paper that looks a lot like my felt underlay. So you can lay that out. And then you should have cards that look like my cards. Now I've already cut mine up so you can see what they look like, but you can color these to look like mine. So you've got the gifts of day and night, the gift of water, the gift of the dry land, day and night, the things that fly and the things that swim, all the creatures on earth, and then the day of rest. And on this card, you can draw whatever you want, wherever you go to rest and to remember all the gifts that God has given us. Remember, if you need one of these craft bags and you haven't gotten one yet, your parents can contact me and I'll make sure that you get one.